Obrigado, Letícia. Bem-vindos de volta, pessoal. Esse aqui vai ser o nosso último painel do dia, nosso último painel internacional. Lembrando que amanhã a gente tem muito mais gente de todo lugar, da Europa, da América do Norte, da África. Temos uma programação especialíssima para vocês. Mas hoje a gente vai encerrando com esse painel de número 4. O tema desse painel é sobre a ascensão do hip-hop nos Estados Unidos. Ele é mediado pelo Brian Essince, um amigo já de longa data do Gustavo e do Prêmio. A gente retornou o contato com ele e pediu para ele trazer essas pessoas maravilhosas que vão estar aqui com a gente hoje. Então, eu vou abrir em inglês e vou convidar os nossos convidados para começarem o painel. For the fourth panel of the Music Pro Awards, the last panel of the day, I want to welcome Brian Essince, Layla, Khepri, DJ Tyga, and Sincere. Please, Brian, with the word, you can speak.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas, so much. I'm really honored to be here. Muito obrigado to all of my Brazilian supporters and followers. This is a great honor to be a part of this. So first off, thank you. So this panel now is discussing hip hop, specifically current trends here in the United States. And I have some incredible panelists with me. Layla Khepri, national recording artist, actor, who has been to Brazil and performed at the awards. So Layla, thank you for joining us today. And also another very dear friend and one of the best publicists that I've ever worked with in media, at events, in networking. The wonderful, the lovely, the talented, the intelligent, Sincere. Thank you so much.
Hola, thank you.
So
what up, Layla?
To just get into a little introduction. So I'll start. Brian Essince Collins. I run Royal Air Entertainment, international media marketing distribution company. So I've had the privilege of traveling all over the world, promoting music, booking tours, and I love studying music history. So I love seeing how hip hop has grown and changed, and it's always evolving. So that's why it's important to have this discussion to see what the trends were, how they're changing, and where we are today. So first, love to have Layla, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself and what you're working on.
Hey, absolutely. My name is Layla Khepri. I'm an international recording artist. I've gone viral multiple times. I've traveled pretty much the world at this point, everywhere from China, Brazil, all throughout the United States and everything like that. I've had hits on billboards. And as of right now, currently working on a new project. I'm actually getting into other investments as well, pursuing my music career actually transitioned seamlessly at that into acting. So I'm pursuing more acting situations based off of just people knowing me off of my music career. So that's a blessing. And aside from the project and other investments, that's pretty much what I got going on right now. The new movie Bundles is going to be dropping soon. So looking forward to that and to debut.
Awesome. Thank you. And Sincere, please talk to us a little bit about what you do.
So I've been in the music industry for going on 16 years. I've known a big chunk of that. I've known Brian Essince, as we call him. I do everything from physical PR, which is red carpets, attending events, to product placement. I specialize in producers overall. I worked recently, one of the things we did a couple years ago was my producer, LT Mo, I worked with for about 13 years, did the multi-platinum record On Chill for Wale and Jeremiah. I'm working right now with Todd Moore, doing some placements with his clothing with Thrill Gates. I'm also the GM for the #1 private recording studio in Cleveland, Ohio, and also in the Midwest, called Sunbird Studios and Technologies. And I do basically PR for everything and anything you can imagine. So it's from CEOs all the way to pro athletes. I've consulted for the Akron Aviators, and you know, it just, whatever they need on the PR side, I'm there for.
So I want to get a little deeper into that. In what role does PR play, especially, so I want to get into what role it plays, but then also later want to discuss how these trends have changed. You know, we were in the blog era and then the social media growing up and how it changed. But first, what role does PR and public relations play in hip hop?
I think it plays one of the most vital roles possible. We end up telling the story of the artist to the public, from the rollouts to the designs, helping with that as well. It's kind of that and marketing go hand in hand. We also help artists kind of protect themselves from themselves. So when they're going through some issues, we can help narrate that situation, kind of put a better spin on some situations where it may not be that great, but we have to make it look better than it is. And then I just think that it's very much shifted and changed. And I've seen it happen over the years where, you know, we could connect direct with the blogs, and we could, you know, get to do physical PR, which was, you know, a lot of red carpets. It's kind of a dying art form, attending events and things like that. But we were able to go to events and really kind of meet the people that were running the blogs and running like the allhiphop.coms and stuff like that. And now people are more reclusive, especially with COVID. It's hard to meet people now. The art of networking is really dying, which is kind of sad to see. So people like us are trying to bring it back and really kind of understand who you're looking for. But PR is pretty much everything. Like it's a huge chunk. I would say at least 65% of the work that an artist needs, and kind of helping them with the rollouts. I know that you do a great job, you know, and Layla, I loved all your stuff that you've done and been watching her for years, and it's very intricate, and the narration of the story is very important for artists. There he is, DJ. I see the DJs, he's here.
You go. So, Layla, what role as an artist? So there we go. Tyga Ty, what's up, man?
What's going on?
So I'll have you do a real brief introduction. Everyone, DJ Tyga Ty, if you could just introduce yourself.
For some reason, the audio.
Okay, having a little difficulty right now with Ty. So when you can hear, let me know. In the meantime, Layla, if you could talk as an artist, what role has public relations played for your career? How important is media features and public relations?
I mean, it's monumental as far as an artist career. To be perfectly honest, even as far as getting verified on, you know what I'm saying, multiple of my pages would not have happened without the blog exposure and things like that. Because I know people with hundreds of thousands of followers, and because they don't have the right type of coverage, because they don't have the right stories being told to the right outlets, they still don't get verified, which is, you know, as an entertainer, period, is something that's really big, because it just gives you that verification and that, you know, just officialness as far as like people being able to buy even more into your brand. So it's been monumental. As far as the single that I had that ended up getting on billboards, I really highly doubt that it would have gotten on billboards if it wasn't for the right publications and things of that nature, picking up the song, talking about the song. I do honestly, I'm interested to see how things go, just because with the times transitioning, social media in itself has created such a platform for people to be heard, for virality and things of that nature. So I'm interested to see where things go along. But at this point in time, I really think it's one of the fundamentals that artists, entertainers, comedians, anybody that's in the entertainment industry, period, should focus on. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to media outlets, you are your perception of what people see of you. So you want to make sure ahead of any headlines and things of that nature, especially if you're doing big things and you know, you have the spotlight on you, that's the perfect time to just, you know, take advantage of what the media is putting out there of you, so that you can be seen in the best light possible, so that you can have fans know more about you and learn more about your story and buy more into your story, so that from there you're really gaining a fan base that isn't just followers, but is an actual fan, because they've seen your story, they've read about your story, they know more about you, they see the relatableness in who you are from the stories that they've seen, so they can connect more with you. So I think it's definitely, as far as PR and public relations and all that, I think it's definitely something that's monumental for entertainers to find somebody even that can get behind them and really invest in them when it comes to that, or invest in themselves.
Right, and Ty, are you able to hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys
Ty.
now. It was my Bluetooth speaker. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, awesome. Well, if you could just do a quick introduction and also let the people know some of your history DJing here in Brazil.
Okay. Well, I'm DJ Tyga from Rochester, New York. I've been with artist auditions since, I believe, when they first started. Can't remember what year it was, but started off with doing local shows here in Rochester, New York, to doing shows in upstate and other states in the United States. And then I got to Brazil for my first time as an opening act for Ja Rule. So I would say me coming to Brazil, because I'm actually Puerto Rican and Black, so I'm bilingual. I actually got to understand the different cultures and connect a little bit better because of them speaking Portuguese over there. And the Portuguese language is somewhat similar to Spanish music or Spanish language. So when I got over there, it was just like, it made me understand that music is a universal language, right? And regardless if you speak Chinese, if you speak English, if you speak Portuguese, if there's a song out there that gravitates to you, even if you can't understand anything that person is saying in that song, maybe it's the beat, maybe it's just the way that it makes you feel. It's just something that speaks to you. So as a DJ, me going over there and playing songs that I didn't think that some of the Brazilian people would know, and they actually knew these songs word for word, I was like, wow, like it made me make friends over there. You know what I mean? So then when my second time around came over there, it was just like, okay, cool. Now this is where I went there by myself, and I was with Tyga. So I'm DJ Tyga, then there's a Tyga, which is an artist. And it was just a whole even more extreme experience because I had already been there before. I knew what to expect. And like I said, the music kind of spoke for me as a DJ, where it was okay, cool. Now I made friends from playing a song that may have made them feel good that night. You know what I mean? So I would say my experience over there was definitely a good experience. And I would recommend a lot of people from the United States to go to Brazil and many other states because they have a different type of respect and understanding of the music. Like here, and this is just me speaking for, like, let's say New York, for example, people are so used to going to the club, hearing the same top 10 songs, and it's like a fashion show in the club. It's not really like a, hey, I'm an artist, I want to build a fan base with you, here's my wristband, or here's my sticker, or here's my social media. When you go to these other places, like, some of these people are actually wanting to engage into who you are and to see, okay, well, what else do you have to offer? Like, I love this song, what other songs do you have? And then they gravitate to not only becoming a fan of that one song that they heard the first time, but then they become a fan of you as a person. Like how Layla spoke about, like when you posting things on social media, me, I like to portray the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because so many people, they post the good things, but it's like, give somebody the understanding of, like, listen, all this stuff didn't happen overnight. It didn't. Like, people look at my social media and say, oh, he's verified, oh, he's on these different shows and he's in front of thousands of people. But it's like, what about Thursday night when I was only in front of 7 people? Like, I post those pictures and I post those videos because people are so quick to think that it happens overnight. And it's like, sometimes it's better to take the stairs than the elevator because that creates your experience. Like for me, like with Brazil, my first trip to Brazil, I was with Ja Rule, and then I met Azealia Banks when she was over there overseas, and then I ended up going on tour with her for, like, I think it was like a tour for like 50 shows or something like that. And it was all for me just going over there and just like kind of trying to expand my network, you know what I mean? And it just kind of took me to a different level. And then I also made friends in Brazil that when I came back for the second time, they actually came to all the shows that I was posting. And it wasn't just for the artists that I was opening up for. They also came for me, and they took pictures with me and all that kind of stuff. So I would say for anybody that is listening to this Zoom, don't ever think wherever you are, that's it. There's more out there. And always make sure that you're giving your all, and always take the time to not only post the good stuff, but do post the bad stuff. Like, post about the times where you had a breakup, or when you were broke and you were sleeping in your car. That's the pain that's inside of these songs. And that people sometimes end up gravitating towards because they may be in that situation. They're trying to figure out, well, man, how do I get through this? Because I've been broke before. I've been times where I was like, man, I haven't got booked for a single gig in 2 weeks. How am I supposed to pay for this daycare or go get my kid this birthday gift or something? You know what I'm saying? And then people are looking at my social media thinking, oh, he's making all this money. And it's like, yeah, but I'm still a human being. I still got to go take care of things. So I'll post those kind of things so people can understand that, like, yeah, you're a fan of mine. But if you're a fan of mine, you got to be a fan of not only my good stuff, but my bad stuff as well, because that'll help you get through your bad stuff. And that's just me as a DJ and also becoming an artist. So I'm not sure how it is with Layla, but that's how it is. But that's just my 2 cents on this other thing.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And that's great, because I would love to go into trends more, because now currently there's a big trend in being more open and transparent. You know, back, you know, even 10 years ago, artists are not going to share that they're broken with 6 people at the show. So, Sincere, I'd love for you to talk a little about the trends in media. You know, we went through a mixtape era. So for some of the fans in Brazil who may not be familiar, there was an era where hip hop, we were putting out a lot of free promotional mixtapes. Some of it was all original music, people spending a lot of money, but their marketing plan was to give away a lot of music in order to build a fan base. Then I feel like we were in a blog era where there was a big focus on getting discovered on blogs and media outlets, and then growing on social media and other trends. So as a publicist, could you talk a little about the change and the trends in music, and then also a little bit about today, especially your work with producers?
So absolutely. It's funny you say that, because the executives from live mixtapes are literally like outside my window right now. So I think with hip hop, what we see is everything comes back around in a cycle. So from lyricism to trap music, the way that I look at hip hop is we're a tree with grounded roots. And then every season we change. So there are going to be different leaves and different bark, and there's going to be different flowers, but the same roots will always be there, which is the 5 elements of hip hop will always be part of it. And so the trends, like you're saying, being transparent, one of the trends that I'm not enjoying the last couple of years, and also, you know, writing for media outlets and things like that, is people thinking that their opinion is fact and not doing the research on the stories that they're telling. We're going through something really big right now in the United States with Travis Scott. My business partner's artist is signed to Cactus Jack. I have 3 partners that were down there yesterday, and there's been 55 stories in the last couple hours, and no one's doing the research to tell the true story. They're not stopping. They're getting the clickbait. And they're not understanding that they're devastating lives at this time. People's lives were taken. And so there's not this moment to breathe and have this humanity be like, okay, let's wait a second before we start just jumping on everything. And that's one thing that I'm hoping is going to retract in a little while. I'm hoping that people will get back to the humanity of the stories and take a minute to kind of breathe before they tell them, because the retractions aren't happening. Do you remember back in the day, if your outlet put some false stuff up, A, you looked at a lawsuit, B, you had the apology had to be bigger than the disrespect. Now it's like if they put out a bad story, they don't have to do a retraction, which I don't like. So I stopped writing for a lot of outlets. I don't like the clickbait stuff. I think the trend of being transparent is beautiful. I've been transparent since day one, and that's kind of where I kind of was able to get farther faster, because I was so transparent. I'm very exclusive who I work with. I just don't work with anybody just because of money. Wendy Day taught me not all money is good money when I was really green, and that really sat and resonated with me. So I was homeless at one point, had a kid throw $13,000 on the table, and I was like, you're looking at a life sentence in prison. I can't help you. And I literally slept in my truck that night crying. And it's those kind of moments, like Tyga was saying, is like, we do have to share the good with the bad, but sometimes we have to hold back. People aren't holding back, and they're just letting everything spill out, but they're not understanding, like, there's moments in time for your story. You know, I deal with Brody Fresh, and a lot of his records are very heartfelt, and, you know, they talk about his life, which I think is phenomenal, but we're holding on to a lot of stuff, you know, from the tour with Conway, the tour with Mozzie, the tour we're about to do with Dom Kennedy. That stuff is for documentary style stuff later on. So people have to kind of know what to put out and what to hold back, and to be able to have that self-control. And those stories for clickbait is really one thing that I hope will change. I think it's going to take a massive lawsuit, and for them to learn that that's not okay. It's going to take some really big changes in blogging, and for them to learn a lesson. So I don't know, and I don't know what it's exactly going to take. I just hope that that trend changes. Because I see lives get devastated all the time, and then the real story comes out, and it's like a blurb. It's like, you know, a few years ago, we saw Plies get pushed off a stage. But we saw a 10-second clip, and everybody took that clip and ran with it. 2 days later, a person puts out the whole clip, and he had actually jumped off. When he got off the stage, he did what he did, and then got back on the stage and performed and finished the set. We didn't see we're only seeing 5 seconds, and we're not thinking of the 10 seconds before and the 20 seconds after. And we're ruining careers. That's happening, like, for real. So that's one of the things that I'm really hoping will start changing. Again, I don't know what it's going to take to change, so. But yeah, people's opinion being fact is another one that I just can't get on board with that.
Yeah. So Layla, as an artist, you know, trying to decide what things to show and open up about, because you've had quite a few, you know, even tragedies and things that you'd went through, and you opened up in some interviews and talked about them. How do you decide what things you go through publicly and what things that you've shared, you know, privately?
I think a part of it is just, you know what I'm saying, being true to myself, keeping shit real, just to be honest. Like, you have a lot of people that go out there and they do the most or put out all these unnecessary stories that really should remain private, because there's a lot of clout chasers these days. And for me, you know what I'm saying, the stories that I put out there, like losing my mom, like the whole alcohol addiction and shit like that, like, I put those stories out there because I struggled with it. I experienced the pain that came with it. It was a real life situation for me. So when I exposed myself on it, it wasn't because I was looking for clout. It was coming from the heart that these are things that I overcame. And I know that there's people out there struggling with it that can overcome it too. So as far as what I do to decipher what I'm real about, what I kind of conceal and stuff like that, I mean, it really just comes from, you know what I'm saying, speaking from the heart. I'm not attention seeking in the sense that I'm out here looking for clout or nothing like that, or I'm about to, you know, just blast about the drama that's in my life because I know people feed on drama. I experienced this shit, I overcame it, or I'm still dealing with it. And there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with it, or that, you know what I'm saying, want to overcome it. And it's just more so me trying to connect with those fans to show them I'm a human. Because a lot of people, I forgot who said it, but they're putting out all these highlights of the best versions of themselves, and that's not 24/7. There's so many people that are, you know, just highlighting the perfections of their lives, knowing damn well ain't nobody perfect. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody living a life that's perfect. You go through the struggle. So for me, it's just being human, you know, and connecting with my fan base on a human level to show them that it's not every day that it's going to be all glitz and glam. You're going to go through it, but you can damn sure overcome it.
But I think that's, real quick, I think that's why Layla has such devoted fans, is because she's genuine when she shares. You can kind of see when people aren't genuine, they're kind of jumping on bandwagons. Everything that I've seen with Layla has always been genuine. And again, her fans travel with her and follow her and buy her stuff and buy her merch and tattoo her on them. And that's why I think the difference is with longevity and a solid core fan base than having just an overnight success.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And that connection with the fans is so important. So I want to go around too and talk. So Tyga Ty, when you travel and you DJ and you're trying to connect with the crowd, how do you choose what songs you play? Are there songs, you mentioned being surprised by, over in Brazil, some of the people knowing the songs that you were playing. Do you plan a full set list ahead of time when you travel out of town, or do you study the regions that you're going to? How do you connect with people through the music that you're playing?
Well, on the DJ side, I do my research, just kind of seeing who are the DJs that people are seeing on a daily basis or listening to on the radio, things of that nature, just to see what they're playing. And then I kind of base that around what I may or may not play that night. And then I go off of the crowd. I don't like doing a set playlist because, again, like, it's kind of like you don't really know what you're going to get into when you get into these events or these clubs or these environments. So trying to prepare for stuff like that, it's like you can only prepare so much. So I like to go off of crowd, the energy, because like I don't want to go and prepare a playlist that may be for the age bracket of 25 to 30. Then I get into an event and it's kids in there that's 18 to 24. You know what I mean? And when you think about timing, as far as music goes, most people, they don't actually start tapping into music mentally until they're 8 years old. So when you look at the time frame, a lot of times the generation that is coming out to some of the events that I've been going to, just speaking on my side, they're getting younger. So the new, like, I've seen people's whole family grow up through the club. Like I've seen their mom come in the club, and then 3 years later, the oldest sister, and then 3 years after that, then the younger sister, and 3 years after that, then the little cousins, and then they're all in the club together at one point in time. So I started looking at the time frame. It's okay, well, we're in 2021, right? And let's say the person is, I don't know, 18. If they start listening to music at age 8, the music that they only know is anything, nothing past 2010, because they didn't consciously start listening to music until they were 8. So that was 10 years ago, around that time. And then you got to think about, okay, what are classics? Who's taking some of the classics and sampling them classics and keeping the music alive? Like, what type of people are you playing in front of? Are you playing in front of people that want to hear real rap and hear the real deep pain and real struggle and real lyrics? Or you want to hear the people that's just in there for a fashion show and they just want to hear whatever is the top 10 songs and whatever is trending? You have to decide that as a DJ. And even as an artist, like, it's kind of, I see a lot of artists literally lose momentum and energy and faith in themselves because they were put inside of a environment that they weren't prepared for. And I'm just like, you got to just go on the stage and do what you do, but you have to learn how to adapt as well. You can't just go on the stage and start talking about ass and titties and shaking this and shaking that in front of a gospel group. You got to censor it out. Just censor it out or something. Like, you got to figure it out. But I've seen that happen. Like, I've seen people literally go on stage and be like, all right, this is a church group, but I'm still going to sing my one song that talks about killing people. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And if you're going to sing that, at least edit it some way, somehow, where you like, if you're really about your craft, you know what I mean? So when you ask me that question, it's just really just me just over the years having experience with my craft and just saying to myself, okay, this is what I really want to do. If I was a fireman and I got taken to a house where there's a fire, am I going to be like, okay, what do I do? I got to go to, okay, what did I learn while I was inside of my academy? And then try to make that work for me to make the situation work. That's just my take on that question.
Oh, absolutely. And sincere, as you know, again, on PR and behind the scenes, how conscious do you have to be on how you present someone from one region when you're going to a different region? You know, especially with hip hop, with certain cities wearing the wrong color, wearing the wrong, sports jersey. You know, I'm not sure what the gang affiliation issues are for some of the viewers in other countries, but the United States, there are certain places you can't wear certain colors in this community that we're in. So sincere, again, as a publicist, have you experienced any issues where you use slang or something that's different one way and promoting it differently in different cities? How conscious do you have to be on that when you're trying to connect in different areas?
I think for me personally, I'm very conscious of that because we do through Detroit and Chicago, and I kind of, when we're planning tours, or because I'm also a road manager, so, but as a publicist or anything, I think that it's imperative to kind of know the market you're going into. So it's the same thing with like DJing or with Layla. So like with Brody, his sets with Mozzie were completely different than his sets with Conway. What we're doing with Dom Kennedy, those sets are completely different. I recently talked about, you know, trying to get him on this Don Toliver tour for a couple dates. That set would be completely different. So the music also has to be very conscious because we've got a variety of records, but not every record is going to fit with the headlining crowd that we're going to be in front of. But colors do matter. Like, we try to be as neutral as possible, but, you know, like here in the studio, I was able to work really closely with the owner to design the studios. And the studios are all, you've been to my old studios, a lot of red. And I would be petrified when artists that I knew that were not into the color red would come in, and I'd be like, ooh. And so here, everything's very gray, black and white, and the ceilings in every room change colors. And that's really the focal point. And that was done intentionally because I have very active gang members that I'm very close with, that love blue, that love red, that love yellow, and so to be able to give them that and not have to worry about when they come in if they're going to be uncomfortable. If I have to even I don't have to ask the question now because we kind of just negated all of that with the design of this. But it is something to be very conscious of. Same thing with like the music that we have to play. Like our tour DJ may be asked to step in. We're in the market in Detroit and he has no Trick and no Eminem and no none of them. That's going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? We know that they're supporting BMF. So what's the soundtrack on BMF for Stars right now if we're in Detroit? That's going to be a big thing too. All the way down to being in Atlanta to find out who the hottest artists are that are being played in Atlanta. I can't go into a soca club and play top 40 music. My DJ can't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, he knows exactly what I'm saying. Like, I worked for Big Rankin for years. And so I saw Bigger go from a top 40 club all the way down to a strip club. And then we would be in the grimiest of Jamaican clubs. And his DJs be able to bring out different hard drives and to be able to adjust to the fan bases that are there. And I think it's very important for people to just have knowledge of space and just actually care about the market you're in.
Yeah, that's so big. You know, with Layla, when you're touring, when you're in other places, you know, as they've been saying, there are certain records that work better in certain areas. You might have a song that does really well in Atlanta that doesn't do as well in DC or the Midwest. But how do you plan for that if you're on the road pushing a single? Do you not care because this is the song that I'm promoting right now, or do you still tweak your set to fit the market that you're in?
For me personally, just because I feel like it may differ with other artists, I definitely like tweaking, you know, my set, just because at the end of the day, if I could win over these fans and it means them checking out more of my stuff and it leading to the single, I'm cool by that. Just because you never know. You really never know, especially as an artist. You know, you kind of gotta watch the other sets that go on, and that's why other artists, you know, I've seen them chill in the green room and stuff like that when it's offered, but I'll be right there in the crowd because I like to gauge what's going on. I like to, you know, hear and see what people are vibing to so that I can give them that, because at the end of the day, these are people that are paying their money to come see artists so that they can, whatever it is, get away from their everyday life, disconnect, party. So I like to be able to just engage with that vibe and cater to that vibe. And you really, as an artist, you never know though. There was one incident in ATL where I performed what to me is one of my dumbest songs called Dopery, and people went crazy for it. And then I ended up getting, it was a competition situation, so I ended up getting moved to the finals, and I had a event that happened in between that. where I performed the same song and I didn't get the same feedback. They were like, oh, you know, it wasn't as lyrical as it should have been, this and that, because it was kind of like a mumble rap song, whatever. And then because of that, I got into my head about it. So I ended up going to the finals that I had, you know, gotten into. And because I was in my head about the song that I performed a totally different song. And after I performed that song, one of the judges pulled me to the side and he verbatim said, if you had performed the song that you performed last week, you would have won this. So it's just, you know what I'm saying? You really got to go with whatever the vibe is, in my opinion, just because that can, you never know. Like even Sincere said, you have this album that touches an array of people, but it's not, you know what I'm saying? One song isn't going to hit everybody. And that's why I like to just gauge the situation, because I know I'm there to do a job, which is perform my heart out, perform the songs that mean a lot to me, which is every song. I just know that I have an array of music that is going to touch certain people depending on what song it is. So I like to cater to whatever the environment is, me personally. Just
I think also too, it's important in Layla and I know Brian and I'm not sure about even with Tyga. Analytics is everything too. I mean, we look at the analytics of what's going in the markets and like BPMs. Like right now, we just put up a single with Brody called Yola, and inside of the information, I got the BPMs for the DJs. Like we're making sure that we have that for so they know. Same thing with drill. Like I'm not going to work a drill record in New Orleans when it's bounce. Like I know better than that. You know what I'm saying? So like I know to reach out to certain markets too, because and whatever that is. But I think that it's imperative too to kind of have the team around you to read the analytics of what records are working in what market. I can work 5 records at once of the same artist in different markets, and all records are hitting.
That's big. And how you know, how has the availability of analytics changed your planning? So Sin, I want to start with you, because we didn't have access to all of this even 5 years ago. The way that we do now, I can pull up Spotify analytics and see how Layla's songs are doing in specific playlists or specific cities and countries. So how has that affected your marketing campaigns and promotions?
For me, it's changed huge because like I started with DistroKid, and I was able to see the map of what was hitting and where we do our promotion. It also target marketed my street teens and what was around there. And if, you know, what blogs were really big in that area, I could kind of do my own research and invite the right media outlets out that were in the area, because that fan base will grow out. Tech 9 was a prime example of that, and how he did that. And Tech 9, Strange Music, is incredibly independent, always has been, but he started with these smaller markets and built his way out and did phenomenal at that, and has loyal legions of fans. Machine Gun Kelly is the same way, loyal legions of fans. Layla, I've seen your fans firsthand. I've seen, you know, DJs have that same fan base where they're just beyond loyal. But those analytics are everything for us, because we're dealing with budgets. And we've got to be realistic about our budgets. We don't have bottomless checks. So it's, you know, it's the same thing with like, if I know that Tyga has an event in New Orleans and that's his market and that's where he hits, I know that I'm going to try to find a bounce remix and connect with him and be able to do that. Same thing with like DJ Feezy's from Cleveland, but he's called the Wolf of Miami, and he does all top 40. So I'm going to try to get him more of that top 40 field record down to Miami. I'm not going to give him possibly the same record that I would work in Chicago or Detroit. So the analytics will also tell me that what's hitting and what's not. Again, I love the fact that I can see my DistroKid and I know every record of what it's doing in those markets, and it breaks it down and it tells me everything I need to know. It made also touring a lot easier when you're independent, and being able to tour markets and find the venue that was closest to that location to be able to tour and just start, you know, being able to just make it bleed out.
Mm-hmm.
And Ty, as a DJ, do you look at statistics and things, whether it's just for you on social media to see how your posts are going? How are you able to use that to research songs, and or how do you use it?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know nothing about that side of stuff. My manager does all that stuff. I just post the content. I'm not gonna sit on here and lie like, oh yeah, look at nah. I'll be like, oh okay, cool. And he'd be like, yeah.
But you have a team player that does that. That's the thing.
I just post the stuff. He'd be like, post it at 3 o'clock. All right, cool. And I just post it, and then he'll send me a screenshot of something, and I look at it and I'll be like, sweet. But I don't be knowing what I'll be looking at. I really don't. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest, I don't. But I should though. But I don't.
And Layla, as far as like touring and promotions, you know, so for that touring and promotions, I wanted to see it from an artist perspective, but then also with your social media things, do you pay attention to your statistics as far as when to post or what people are engaging or how they're engaging?
I do. One of the funny things though about analytics, at least as far as social media goes, is that social media analytics are going to go based off of things that you've already posted. So when you're first starting out and everything like that, you need to post as much as possible just so that you can really gauge the analytics and be like, okay, Monday's posted this, or you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to social media, it really is a journey of exploration as far as like posting as much as possible so that you can really gauge those analytics. When it comes to touring though, and when it comes to the fan base that I cater to, analytics is great just because I know what areas are really rumping my stuff. So I know, okay, if I go to Missouri, if I go here, you know, I'm going to get a nice group of people that are going to come out to see me because I have a fan base there. But even in that sense, when I say that the journey of exploration, I feel like even knowing those facts is really big because it gives you the insight to be like, okay, if this is my fan base, but this is not particularly the fan base that I want, it gives me a route to, you know, make new music that I can, you know, see whether or not that's going to attract more females or more males, just to kind of get an idea of the people and what they're listening to and get more into their heads so that I can cater to that if I want to. So it just gives me a lot more range as far as what direction I want to go, what image I want to put out there for people. So analytics to me is super important just because that's going to allow you to be in control of your brand and your situation.
So someone mentioned something a little earlier, and it's really interesting when you look at how social media and some of these things are changing and how that's affecting music. Specifically, when you look at things like TikTok or even Instagram Reels, where people are focusing on just such a small section of a song. So, Sin, when you're going and what role does that play when deciding what songs to push? Are you thinking about social media and like, okay, I can see this clip going viral? Because we had a song that was very serious and it was about police brutality. Beautiful song, brilliant song, but there was one line in it that I was terrified would be used the wrong way. So I purposefully did not push to TikTok, even though I'm confident, I would bet the farm that this clip would have gone viral, but it would have been like a jokey, funny way on such a serious topic. So I didn't do it. So when you're planning, campaigns and working singles, then is that a conscious thought of like, hey, with this hook, we can see people doing this type of video, or do you avoid that?
So the great thing about me is I've been very, very lucky to not have to worry about TikTok, even though it's constantly in the back of my head. It's crazy because I found a lot of new music through TikTok and through those little moments, and then I've heard the whole record and the whole record sucks. And I'm like, now I know why they clipped just that part of the record, because the whole record be trash. But like with me, like with On Chill, the fans took it and ran with it. The DJs did phenomenal with that record. So I didn't have to worry about TikTok. Like we was killing the numbers by itself, and the marketing was amazing from Warner. With Brody, his fan base isn't really TikTokers, so I haven't had to worry about too much with that. but I do, as a publicist, know about it. I know it's there. I know that if I have to consult someone, that is something of a topic that we bring up. We do talk about social media. It is a great way to get music out there. Again, it's a little nerve-wracking because these kids are literally blowing records up for 10 seconds, and the whole 3 minutes is horrific. And I'm like, yo, how? These people are getting billboards, they're like, how? This whole record's trash. But it happens. But again, it's part of our life now, and it's part of our lifestyle every day. And so, yeah, I've just been fortunate to not have to focus on it. I would love to have a record that trends on TikTok. I would love to have a TikTok motion and a dance and all that stuff. But, you know, I deal with a very not conscious, but a very lyrical rapper who has phenomenal production. I think that there's records that we have that I think that we're going to see females gravitate to, which is a priority for me. It's not so much women really run the financial part of we're the gas in the car. So without us, this financial part of music does not run. And that's just being honest. We buy the tickets, we buy the merch. We really are like 90% of this financing. So there's a couple records that I'm very excited for women to connect with that I think that they're going to love. And then I think what's going to happen is the guy's going to be like, yo, he's dope and he got my girl in a good mood. Like, all right, bet, let's see what else he got going on. I think that's going to happen, but that's more of what I'm conscious of, is that the females are going to connect with the record and how their fan bases are going to connect and receive it. And my big thing is visuals. Our visuals that we shoot are everything. And so they could take a fraction of I just prefer to put out a great record, and I'm kind of cool. Like, if it's a great record, it's a great record. You can't deny it. And TikTok's not going to stop that motion if it's great. So.
Absolutely. So this last question, I'll start with Ty and go around. What is a trend that you would like to see in hip hop, whether as an artist, on the business or promotion side? What is a trend that you would like to see either start or come back?
It's not really more so a trend. It's more so a way of life. I would say support. I would say it's the support. It's nothing for you to take that thumb of yours and click that share button. Because there's so many people out here that even in some of the songs that I listen to, right? They'll talk about, oh, I did it on my own, or oh, people didn't show me love when I was coming up and stuff like that. I get it. I mean, some people, we all have our own lives. We all have our own situations or whatever. But if you're scrolling down your timeline, right, and you see, let's say, one of your friends who's an artist, it doesn't take no more than 2 seconds for you to click that share button, right? And I see this happen all the time, right? I had this happen to me recently, and I'll use this scenario. You'll have a friend, right? They'll come to you and say, hey, I know you sell bottles of water, right? And you'll tell them $3. And instead of him buying the water from you for $3, he'll go down the street and buy the bottle of water from the guy that's selling it for $5 because you didn't want to give it to him for $1. So it's like, so you telling me you'll go support this person who charged you more, but won't support your own friend because I didn't want to give it to you for a cheaper discount that I was selling it for? So it goes back to, for me, for hip hop, and even because like even in certain genres like reggae music, they support each other. They support. I've seen a lot of support in the reggae community. Like you can give a selector a song and he'll play it and won't think nothing of it, right? In the hip hop world, it's like people are holding back information. You got the people that will try to fake it till they make it and make it seem like they're doing better than you. And when you go do your research, they're really not. And then some people will try to use whatever they can from you to make themselves better or bigger than you. And it's kind of like, why can't we work together? And then we can all eat. So that's just my take on it. I think it's just the whole support situation. I think people should support each other a little bit more.
That's awesome. Sincere. What about you?
I agree with everything you said. I just think that if the bottled water came from the tap and you screwed the tap back on, I'm not buying your water. So I think enough people are true friends to tell them that their friends need to stop rapping. I think that's part of the problem. So we deal with it all the time. I think one of the trends, not trends, I think just one of the things I'd like to see is Ghazi did it recently, QC did it recently, is when the con men come out, they put it out publicly. And they tell people, like, this person is not official, this person does not work with us, this is a con, this contract is not real. The big dogs need to do that. And the key holders that we see and we can look up to need to put the people on blast more publicly. Because there's a lot of con artists in the industry, and if you saw them more, putting them on blast, I think it would help kind of filter through the BS that we go through. I'd love to see more of that. And like I said, I'm loving that Ghazi's doing it. Empire did it. QC did it recently. That's something that I would love to see more of. And then just in our market alone, I would like to see people supporting good people, but I think that, like, especially like with where we're in Cleveland, I think that it's the world will get to know somebody and then they'll jump on board, and I'm okay with that. I don't care if you're late to the train, just get to the train. That's it. So, but yeah, and I want to see people respect the producers, the engineers, and the DJs more. I love you, artists, Layla. I love you, but without the producers, there would be no song. Without the DJs, no one would know about your record. Without the engineers, stuff wouldn't sound like it does. And I think that those three elements are so imperative to the music and the success of a record that they need to be celebrated as much, if not more, than the artist.
Yeah.
Hey, Sincere, I do agree with you on the putting people on blast. And I just want to tell this quick story, right? So I remember this is when I first started being a DJ, and I used to like travel to other parts of New York to meet some of these record reps, right? And now you have like places like the Clubhouse, and they have these people that put their A&R information, and it's like, okay, do you actually work for Empire, or are you like affiliated with somebody who works for Empire? You know what I'm saying? And I remember I went to this meeting with this guy, and I guess I can't remember what label it was, but there was the building, and there was a lobby inside the building, and he had me come to this building, and I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm about to go here and meet this record rep. And low key, I was like, we're going upstairs, right? He was like, oh no, we got to go into this lobby. And we're in this lobby, and it was like a hotel lobby, and he was like speaking as if he was like a representative of the label. And then one of the label reps came down that was a friend of mine's, and he was like, he kind of put him on blast. And I felt like it was my duty and obligation to tell people, like, he's really out here telling people, like, yeah, I work for this label, and he's having people meet him inside the building, but they're inside the lobby of the building to make it look legit, but it's not. And I'm just
no, the
like,
year of information, though, if somebody gets took with the internet that we have now, that's on you. But when it's Ghazi, when it's Empire, when it's that high up in these contracts, these kids, I think that's when I like to see that. But yeah, no, if you get took nowadays, I don't feel no sympathy for you.
It's a lot of scary stuff going on. I'm just like, sheesh, it's a lot.
Layla, final thoughts before we wrap up. Any current trend or trend you would like to see come back, or a trend that you would like to see?
To be honest, I would just like things to fucking normalize themselves again, people to get back to the normalities of things, because you went from people back then, you know what I'm saying, using rap as an outlet to talk about their story, and people who relating to that. And now I think it's at a point where people are purposefully talking about this shit. Some, yes, because it's their life story and there's relatableness there. But I feel like some people are doing this shit because they feel like it's cool. And I feel like some of the people that are listening are idolizing that, not because they're going through it, but now they're starting to change, you know what I'm saying, their ways of going about things because they think it's cool. So I would just like to see shit go back to normal. Like, if you ain't about that life, you didn't live that life, stop acting like you did. Just be a little, you know what I'm saying, book smart motherfucker, go make some tech, be like, you know what I'm saying, the motherfuckers from Facebook or whatever, like design some shit. You ain't live in the hood, you didn't live in the hood. I would like to see shit go back to that. You know what I'm saying, of people just, you know, shit being, it is what it is. Just to sum it up. And aside from that, fuck cancel culture. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for it when it comes to racism and all that other stuff, but motherfuckers are way too sensitive these days. I would like to see people normalize just, you know what I'm saying, having just a heart. You know what I'm saying? There's so much shit going on these days that people just don't got no heart. People don't got integrity. And that's the shit that I would like to see come back, because it's a lot of clout chasing. It's a lot of people acting outside of their character, acting outside of their calling because of what they think is cool, because of what they think is going to get them on. I would just like motherfuckers to be themselves and not what they think is going to be the thing that gets them on. Drops mic.
Very well said. So I want to take this time again to thank, first of all, my incredible panelists. Thank you all so much for joining us today. DJ Tyga Ty, Sincere, the wonderful Layla Khepri. I've been your moderator today, Essince. So quick shout out, one link, one place that we can find you on social media. Ty, Sincere, and Layla, where can we find you online? One link real quick.
Ladies first.
So Sincere PR on Instagram, and the #1 place for information is not mine, is Wendy Day, Rap Coalition. I cannot scream her praises enough. If you want the information, she got it out there for the world.
Excellent.
Layla, my information, it's Layla Khepri across everything. That's spelled LaylaKhepri. If you put an @ in front of it and search that, you'll come up with some of my stuff. If you put a space in between and you search that, you're going to come up with a lot of my music. And make sure around this time, it's Christmas time, make sure y'all are streaming my project, The Chick Who Stole Christmas, because it's a banger. And if you're going to be playing Christmas music, I'm telling you right now, that's the music that you want to be playing is from that project. So Layla Khepri on everything.
Awesome. Tyga Ty, one link.
DJ Tyga Ty across everything with 2 G's. So DJ TYGGATY. Because people spell it wrong. So it has 2 G's in it. That's all.
Awesome. You can find me everywhere. Essince, ESSINCE. Thank you so much to PPM, the wonderful people of Brazil. Big thank you to Gustavo for always treating us well. Thank you guys so much. Lucas, thank you for all your help and patience. Have a good night, everybody.
Night. Bye.
Together with us. Now I'll pass the word to Leticia so she can, give the rest of our schedule. But yeah, that's a huge thanks to everyone who participated, Léo Feijó, Amelia, Brian, and, all of our guests. We are very honored and happy to have all of you here. So I'll now say a little thank you in Portuguese as well. But that's it for today. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming. We are very honored and very happy to have you all here. Thank you. Obrigado. Agora eu só queria encerrar em português também. Esse foi o último painel internacional do dia. A gente está muito feliz de tudo que aconteceu, todas as pessoas maravilhosas que passaram por aqui. O Léo, a Amélia, o Brian, todos os convidados que passaram aqui para deixar um pouquinho da contribuição, da história e conseguiram fazer esses painéis serem incríveis como eles foram agora. Então é isso, só muito, muito grato, muito feliz por tudo. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Claro, amanhã tem mais, não esqueça. E agora ainda vai ter também a cerimônia de premiação, que eu vou passar a palavra para a Letícia daqui a pouquinho. Daqui a pouco não, agora já. E aí vocês vão ficar com o final da premiação. Pessoal, muito obrigado pela presença, muito obrigado por tudo. Tchau, tchau e até amanhã. Letícia?